I am Joy Antone, interim principal of David T. Howard Middle School. And we will have our principal's lunch and learn today. The time is now 1:30, and we will begin with introductions. We have our sixth grade assistant principal, Ms. Josephine Caproni. We also have our eighth grade assistant principal, Dr. Geraldine Harper. We have Ms. Shonda Beatles, our business manager. We also have our sixth grade dean of students, Ms. Ann Head. We also have our special ed lead teacher, Ms. Asha Hall Washington. We have our support with technology with Mr. Corey Hagens. We also have our officers, our school resource officers, Officer Tamika Reed and Officer Aaron Dowling. We also have our retired principal administrative support, Dr. Paula Snowden. We have also Chief Ronald Applin from Atlanta Public Schools Police Department, and Mr. Paul Brown will also be joining us. As we look at today's agenda, in light of the events that took place on last week, we will be covering safety and security. First, we'll hear from Chief Applin regarding Office of Safety and Security, the support, statistics on safety-related incidents, effective strategies, and then we will allow questions for Chief Applin as he will have to depart early. After we hear from Chief Applin, we will talk about some statistics at Howard Middle, our plan for discussion with students, safety measures here at Howard, and resources for parents, and then we will also take additional questions that you may have. And so at this time, you will hear from Chief Applin.
Good afternoon, Howard family, Howard Middle School family. This is Chief Ron Applin, Atlanta Public Schools Police Department. So just some of the things that we're doing to support Howard at this time. We're of course, additional officers are making rounds at the school. We also have 2 officers currently assigned to the school. We're giving daily support to the staff, giving recommendations and getting feedback from everybody at the school. We're providing safety team support. A lot of the stuff you can read. I don't want to go through this like that, and you can read this stuff, but we're definitely side by side with the principal, who has made a lot of good decisions about how to go about dealing with what we're facing today, and also taking in some of the information that we're given to the school about things that we can do. You can go to the next slide. So there was a question that was asked about some of the data that we have regarding incidents that have happened at Howard. And one of the things this slide shows you is a comparison of all the other clusters in the district. And you'll notice that the Midtown cluster has the lowest number of incidents that were reported to or by the police department. Now, this is different from what you would see from school level information like discipline data and stuff like that. But this is strictly dealing with the information involving police when we get involved. Specifically talking about Howard, this year alone, we've only had 5 incidents that were reported to or reported by the police department. 2 were involving guns, and you guys are aware of that. There were 2 involving fights and 1 involving drugs. I don't have the specifics for all of those cases, but I just wanted to mention that just on a very high level. You can go to the next slide. So when we look at in the Midtown cluster, look at the number of incidents that have taken place in the cluster, you can see where Howard is. It says 4, but it was actually 5. So I want to correct that. So you see what a number of issues or incidents that have taken place within the Midtown cluster. You can see in comparison to other schools where Howard Middle School fits. Next slide, please. Again, I won't sit here and just read to you, but I want to share a few things that I think that's important that's on this slide. Number 1, safety and security is the responsibility of all of us. Now, I'm not trying to take the responsibility off of any one person at APS, but I say that because I want you to understand that things that as parents that you can do to help us keep our schools safe. One thing that you can do, and I really encourage you to do, is take a look at your kids' bags. when they're leaving school. Go actually take them and go inside, look inside the bag, and make sure they don't have anything they shouldn't have, and they shouldn't be bringing to school. So when we're doing the screening process, the screeners are picking up so many items that they should not have. That would help us out a whole lot. Another thing that you can do, and I do this with my daughter, I check her cell phone. I pay the bill, so guess what? I get to check her cell phone. So I do that. So thinking about things like that, who are they associating with? What things are they doing that may be troubling? And getting in touch with us and notifying us if there are any issues that we need to really focus on. Another thing that when we think about dealing with issues like this is prevention. It's not just, us standing there and screening people, catching things as it happens, but being able to prevent it before it happens. One of the things, and the Secret Service did a study a couple of years ago about active shooter events. And one of the things they noted was that in 84% of the cases, someone knew about it. 84% of the time, someone knew about it. That just really resonates with me, because people, as students, as parents, as teachers, if we know something, we have to be able to share that information. Talk to a trusted adult. If you're not comfortable with that, we have a Say Something Anonymous reporting system. There was a training done just a few days ago, yesterday, I believe, with all the students. They are very familiar with it. They can anonymously report issues that they see. We will definitely respond to it. The school will respond to it to make sure that you are safe, secure, and strong. But having all these things in place, we look at a layered approach. It's not just metal detectors. It's not just parents checking bags. It's not just teachers being able to receive information from students about issues that they're seeing. It's all of those things together is going to make things work for us. So that's one of the things I just challenge you to check your kid's bag. I challenge you to do that. I also challenge you, if you notice something, if you see something, say something about it. We have a method in place for students to report stuff to us, especially if they don't want to be their identity to be known. Is there another slide? Otherwise, are there any questions, I guess?
So I have two questions for you. There's a question of, was the gun here loaded? And then the second question was on the slide that had the incidents. Were all of those gun incidents at other schools, and how many gun incidents are at other schools?
All right, so I don't have that information here to answer about what happened at other schools specifically. And talking about the incident at Howard, whether or not the gun was loaded, I cannot confirm that at this point, but other than we found the gun at the school. I wish I could give you more information. I just don't have that in front of me right now.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for Chief Applin?
There's a question that says, besides metal detectors, what are other hard rather than soft measures to deter weapons on campus? And the question is, are we allowing dogs?
Yeah, that's a good question. Very good question. We have our partners. We're using our partners, Atlanta Police, Fulton Sheriff. We haven't done it at Howard. That's one of the things that we can include in that layered approach is using gun detecting canines. They've helped us out in other schools. We certainly can make that happen at Howard. At this point, it's not something that we see as necessary right now, but because specifically for now, there's a very extensive focus on screening every single kid who comes into that building when school starts and throughout the day as school goes along. So yes, that is a method that we can deploy.
Okay. Is that it, Ms. Beatles?
Yes, because some of these questions I don't think we can ask. It says, were the guns registered? Was this a street gun or one that had been taken from a parent? But I don't think
so because this incident involved the juvenile, there's not a whole lot we can talk about right now, other than sharing with you that it was a gun. That's significant in and of itself. I'm not trying to downplay anything else with that. That's very significant in and of itself. We're doing the normal things that we do when we find guns. We'll run them through GCIC. We'll work with ATF to determine if it was involved in a crime and things like that. So we try to be very thorough when we do deal with issues like this.
And any final words, Chief Applin, for you?
Yeah, I just challenge each and every one of you to be a solution, to be a part of the solution. If check your kids' bags. We're going to do the screening. We're going to do the metal detectors. We're going to do we have the Say Something Anonymous reporting system. We just need help all the way around. And if we can do that, it'll make us that much better and that much safer.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and support.
All right. All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I will share with parents this afternoon some of the safety related incidents that have happened here at Howard Middle School thus far this school year. And so as you are already aware, we have 2 incidents involving weapons. They are considered Category 1 weapons. Those are the guns. One actually involved a student and the other one did not involve a student. We have also had 2 Category 2 weapons, and those would include pepper spray. And we have had a Category 3 weapon, which is a knife with a blade shorter than 2 inches. As far as physical altercations, we have had 25 fights with no injuries, and we have had approximately 5 fights with mild or moderate injuries thus far this school year.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ann Head, 6th grade Dean of Students. We trained our students yesterday with the See Something, Say Something training for anonymous reporting. And all school year long, we have had our posters up. We've actually utilized the See Something, Say Something anonymous reporting system since 2019 when the district first introduced it. So it was not new for us, but we did retrain our students yesterday along with our staff. And we also are have in place for our students it's a safe space for them to share in advisory and also at any other time that they feel that they need to share with their teachers. Every Wednesday from 9:15 to 10 o'clock a.m. we have an advisory lesson that's based on our SEL second step curriculum. And it just so happens for the last 6 weeks, we have had a focus on the themes of conflicts, staying calm, thoughts and emotions, and resilience. So we will continue with that, as well as building relationships with our students and staff and focusing on mindfulness. Our students and staff will soon engage in discussions about active shooter drills. And the reason we want to engage in those conversations to any drills is so that we reduce any type of apprehensions, anxieties, or fears that our students may have. We want them to be open and understanding why we practice what we practice, why the drills will be conducted. And we'll have those this semester. We're also available to help any of our students or staff and provide resources for those students who may struggle with any type of major event that occurs at school. They're welcome to reach out to any of their counselors, their deans, or the school social workers.
Ms. Head, you have a quick question about how many reports this year from See Something, Say Something have been reported at Howard?
2. We've had 2 reports. And with See Something, Say Something, just for clarity, it's not just for any type of gun threats or violence. It also is related to self-harm. It's related to bullying, intimidation. So there's a wide variety. Any type of concerns a student has, he or she may report that with using the See Something, Say Something anonymous app.
You said you have another question asking how quickly does the school get the message that something has been reported from the Say Something, See Something app?
And that is a great question. So with See Something, Say Something, it is a part of the Sandy Hook community and supports. So there is a call center, which any report is immediately picked up by the call center. The call center does ask pointed questions to the person who's reporting just to get as much information as they can, and it's immediately passed to the school. So it's in a matter of moments.
Any additional questions? Okay. Officer Dowling and Officer Reed, if you could talk about your role here at Howard.
Okay, good afternoon, Officer Dowling, Atlanta Public Schools Police Department. The SRO roles here at Howard and how we work with the administration staff for safety and security. We work with the administration staff to maintain a safe environment for our students and for our staff. We patrol the entire school campus regularly for visibility and report any issues that we find to our administration staff. We monitor cameras for surveillance and security. We manage and coordinate any security or crowd control issues, vehicle controls as we do traffic as well. We maintain effective communication with school administration in reference to all our safety and security issues. We provide law enforcement safety advice on matters affecting the school safety. And we take law enforcement actions when that is necessary. We also meet every Monday with our admin staff to discuss any safety or security concerns that we might have.
And Officer Reed, if you can just kind of talk about your recent interactions with district office and trying to secure security cameras and door alarms and things of that nature.
Yeah, we are continuously working with the district and reporting anything that may need to be updated. Currently, we've been in discussion about additional cameras, and that's something that is actually being reviewed at this time. An additional buzzer being placed in the front office for security measures, that's under review at this time. We will periodically always go through the building to see if there are any like spots that we're not able to see and see if we could get that updated so that we can have camera coverage in those areas so that the children can remain safe and the staff can remain safe as well.
Okay. Thank you, Officer Reed. And Ms. Beatles, will you talk about the school safety team and any
Sure.
training?
So before we get off, Officer Reed and Officer Dowling, will you please give the parents how they can get in touch with APS's police department?
Yeah, you can contact dispatch at 404-802-2000. But the reason that you will be calling dispatch is if neither one of us is available at the school, so that will be more for after hours. If you need to reach Officer Dowling or myself, you can contact the school and you will be directed to us for any personal matters that may be going on that's dealing directly with the school. The 2000 number is for after hours if we're not available at the school.
Okay, I'll get started. I'm sorry, I'm trying to answer a question. So we have a safety team that is comprised of teachers, the police officer, me, and one parent. And we kind of look at everything that goes on. And when we receive feedback from our APS police department, we kind of come back and make changes to the things in the building. We do have safety protocols. I know several people have asked about our safety protocols in emergencies. We have a different lockdown system. And of course, on here, I will not share what that lockdown system is for security purposes, but all the teachers here, all staff are trained in our emergency prepared systems for any emergencies that are coming. All teachers that are on the metal detectors will then go through an additional training with the police department on metal detectors and screening our bags in the morning. So the use of metal detectors in the morning and arrivals. So we have gotten an additional 4 new metal detectors. We use 4 in the back for the buses. We use 3 in the gym, for 1 for 6th grade, 1 for 7th grade, 1 for 8th grade. And we have 1 in the front office for late arrivals and also for students that come to tutorials. Students take all of their belongings, put them in a bin, sit the bin on a table. Teachers go through backpacks. The student walks through the metal detectors and picks their items up at the end, and they go to class. So we're trying to speed up the process. We have knocked off the first time we didn't stop till 10:30. The second time it was 10. We've gotten down till about 9:17, 9:20, and we'll make some more changes and make sure that we get our kids in class at 9:15.
I can jump in next. So you've already heard from Mrs. Head about our weekly social emotional learning. And that is a really important part of our school community and helping students to know how to work through the emotions and changes that are happening in their lives. In addition to that, we have already done a behavioral health screener earlier this year. It was for emotional and behavioral status. That survey was completed by students, teachers, and parents had an opportunity to also complete the survey for their child. We do have a second round of that coming up. The teacher and parent survey should be opening up in mid-February, and we'll send out more information soon about that through the weekly memo. The student survey will be happening on Wednesday, February 23rd, during that extended advisory time on Wednesday mornings. So we do encourage you to complete that survey for your child. You are definitely seeing things from home that maybe we might not be in tune with, but teachers will also complete that, and we will have students self-report how they're doing. We do follow up on those surveys, so any students who have elevated or extremely elevated levels would be considered at risk. Now, some of those may be situational, where the child is going through something that may be more temporary. And then we also have other students, of course, at the school who need longer term supports of some sort. So in those cases, we reach out to the child to follow up on the survey, hold individual meetings with them, and also contact families so that you're aware if your child had elevated risk. And then depending on the individual child, we may make internal referrals to a social worker. We may make external referrals to counseling services such as Pathways, or we may decide that something informal like an every now and then check-in with a counselor is appropriate. So it really depends on the individual results for each child.
Thank you. And Ms. Beatles, if you could talk about volunteers. We've had several parents ask about volunteering as it relates to safety measures and safety and security.
And I appreciate everyone who has sent us emails to volunteer. We are coordinating with the president of the PTO, Susanna Roberts, on areas in which we need volunteers. She and I will meet again next week to go through all of the logistics of COVID testing and getting parents checked through the district protocols to have people in the building. And then from there, she will have a sign-up list with all the logistics and how to become a volunteer, and everybody can sign up to come in, because we have different kind of volunteer areas that we will need parents to. None of them are actually going through bags or doing any of the metal detectors. It's outside of that so that the staff can be freed up to do those things.
Thank you, Ms. Beatles. And I just want to just kind of expand upon what Ms. Head talked about when she discussed the active shooter drills. And so we will start having those conversations with our students, to try to reduce anxiety around that, just really discussing, their fears and, trying to make sure that they can open up and feel comfortable talking to staff about, what's happened, what we're doing as we're moving forward, and what that would look like, because we do want to make sure that we are always prepared for any situation. And we haven't done active shooter drills in a while. We haven't done them this year at this point, and we have not done them, Ms. Beatles, you can correct me if I'm wrong, probably the last 4 or 5 years. Just because we know that
Correct.
it does trigger a lot of anxiety with our students. So we want to go ahead and start having those conversations to see how we can reduce that as we move towards making sure that we do have a drill. And we will also get feedback from parents and discuss this with parents as well, but just wanted to highlight that. And also we'll be sharing information with parents about gun secure storage information at home, of course, so that we could also make sure that we can take some preventative measures at home as well, in addition to what Chief Applin talked about earlier in terms of just checking our kids' bags before they leave and just their things so that we can all work towards the same goal. And we also use Remind as the main source of communication when we are sharing information with families. And this is actually the Remind that our school system set up for us that's tied to Infinite Campus. So if there is someone who is not receiving those messages, please reach out and let us know so that we can troubleshoot to see what's happening. But that has been our main source of communication, where it's coming from. We also, we will be sending out information this week to encourage parents to sign up with the Sandy Hook Promise as a parent, because there are valuable resources there on that site related to suicide prevention and just various materials. And so there is a link that we will be sending out so that parents can also look over that information as well and use it as needed. And do we have any questions, Ms. Beadle, for anybody on the call? And I do want to pause and make sure that I introduce, I think we had a couple of more people to join us since we actually began our session. We have Ms. Butler, who is our 7th grade substitute assistant principal, and we also have Mr. Paul Brown, who is our associate superintendent for the Midtown cluster.
So I wanted to address one question that was in the chat about Apple Watches. So yes, Apple Watches go off in the metal detectors. We stopped having students take them off because on the metal detectors, it shows us where the metal is and we can concentrate on those areas. And if we see that it's an Apple Watch in the area that's going off, then we know. I mean, we have a wand to check, you know, to make sure. So we don't make them take them off now because we're trying to get through there faster, and we just check the area that's going off.
Do we have any additional questions, Ms. Beatles?
There's an additional question, but Mr. Hampton, I will contact you individually. Can we put the Sandy Hook Promise initiatives and training be conducted starting each? One parent asked if we can do the see something, say something at the beginning of the year.
Yes, I would highly suggest that happens at the beginning of every year. You know, as a reminder that that is an available resource, but yes, that is a great idea. And then also, Mr. Brown, did you want to share anything as well?
I just want to say thank you, Ms. Anton and your staff for reaching out to parents. Parents, thank you for being here today. And just know that safety is a responsibility of all of us, and we're trying to make it better so students could achieve academically. So I really appreciate the Howard team for having this set up for parents to communicate with parents. And I really appreciate parents being on here. And I would please, and I know Ms. Anton has mentioned this, coming after being a middle school principal, it is very important that parents always talk to kids, check their book bags, you know, cell phones, and just help us in this process. So again, parents, thank you for being here today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. And do we have any additional questions, Ms. Beadle?
No,
There's one. It says, have you considered other
Okay.
methods of communication to reach the students collectively, or more regularly, such as virtual assemblies, etc.?
Yeah, so in terms of communication with students, we do weekly, every week, we do have advisory with our students that's extended, where we do have those conversations. We do virtual town halls by the grade levels with students as well, periodically to communicate certain information. We also have Rambassadors. These are student ambassadors who are the voice for their peers at every grade level. And they meet very regularly and they discuss concerns as well as suggestions towards improvement when it comes to students on campus and how things are going, and just try to make student life at our school a great, great place to be. And so we do have means of communicating with our students regularly. And also, I know there are suggestion boxes around the building, correct? And assistant principals, deans, support personnel, you all can also chime in on the various ways that our students are able to communicate with staff and peers as it relates to any concerns or any reporting.
So for 8th grade, we have a very strong set of ambassadors. They are able to reach me directly on my cell phone through the GroupMe chat. We are all linked in that chat together. So if there's ever a concern, they can send me a message individually, or they can send a message to the entire group for the ambassadors to review and put together a plan of action to address. But they also are comfortable enough, because they are our leaders, coming to me directly to share any concerns on the part of their peers, so that when we meet on our Wednesday meeting times, we are able to come together, consider the concerns and put together an action plan so that we are able to improve our climate. And this is an ongoing process.
Thank you, Dr. Harper. Okay, any other questions?
Not so much a question, but Ms. Stith did put in the chat that the See Something, Say Something app and information will be in next week's newsletter, and it has already been shared on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Ms. Stith. Okay, and I do want to once again just thank all of our parents. We received a lot of feedback, a lot of questions, and just comments regarding the incident last week, and a lot of good information. And so we're definitely taking those things in and having those discussions with the safety team in conjunction with the suggestions and feedback that the Office of Safety and Security have been able to provide. And we've definitely had someone here daily to work with us and just to observe what we're doing to offer that feedback. And I just, like I said, I appreciate all of the support, and we do appreciate you for speaking out and letting us know your concerns and suggestions, and also materials that you shared as well. And so we do thank you. We do thanks to our staff for just putting their efforts forward and making sure that we're all safe, and that, we're all looking at those measures that we have in place and just coming together every day to make sure that we're improving upon what we're doing. I mean, the safety and security is important for everyone in the building, our students and our staff. And this is something that we do not take lightly. And so once again, we do thank you. I do want to mention, I do have an announcement from our PTO president about spring sports. So we will be sending out today a Google form for spring sports interest. So please look for that to come through. Remind, if you do not receive that, once again, please reach out and let us know if you have not received that. But we will be sending that interest form out today for spring sports. Do we have any additional questions? Any final words? Anyone else? Okay. If we don't have any additional questions, we do thank you for spending this time with us today. And please enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.